Hello, this is Tiffany from iheartart, and today I wanted to show you how to use the Design Memory Craft Textural Accents Sampler. And the sampler comes with 3 mediums and 2-ounce tubes. It'll have gesso, glaze, and gel medium. And these little tubes are perfect for the everyday paper crafter or crafter that might not be too familiar with these mediums. You might want to try them out, and this will give you enough product for several projects. So the gesso is generally used to prime your surface. So we're going to be using that on our wood veneer. You can also use it to create some texture accent, and I'll show you how to do that on chipboard. Glaze is often used to finish a project, so you might want to add a nice glaze to a finished canvas or an altered art project. And gel medium is used as adhesive, so it's just like any other wet glue adhesive. And the next thing you want to do is get your supplies. We have some strips of patterned paper and some wood veneer. I also have some Stampers Big Brush markers in Halloween colors. And I have some Martha Stewart glitter and some stamps. I also have a palette with several brushes. So the first thing we're going to do is alter these strips of patterned paper. And I'm going to alter this crossword puzzle piece first. So I'm going to begin by using my glaze and one of the markers in orange, and I'm just going to put down a little bit of the glaze on my palette, not even a dime size, and I'm going to color down some of my marker, and then I'm going to take a flat foam brush and mix these two together, and there you have a colored glaze for your pattern paper. And if you want to add more color to make it more opaque, you just add more of the marker and you mix them together. It stays wet for a while so you can play around with it. So now you just apply it to the pattern paper, and you can see that you get a nice light wash over the pattern paper. It doesn't completely cover the pattern, but it lets the pattern shine through. So this is good if you have a project that you are needing a specific colored pattern paper that you might not have. You can make your own pattern paper by altering it by using a glaze. So this dries fairly quick, and if you want to make it darker, so I want to make it just a little bit darker. So I'm going to take some more of my glaze, and again you just need a little bit, and then some more of my marker, and then I'm just going to mix them up again and apply it to the pattern paper. And the great thing about these mediums is that they are acid free and archival. So you're creating something that's going to last forever. And there we go. And you just set that aside to dry. We're going to alter the other pieces. And now I'm going to move on to the music notes, which are pretty fun. There's that. Cool Halloween purple. We're going to set that one aside to dry. And then the next medium we're going to use is the gel medium. And like I said, this is often used as adhesive. So we're going to use some fun glitter. And put some of your gel medium down. You don't need a bunch. Now you just apply a thin layer and you add your glitter. And you can see that it has stuck fairly well. Set aside to dry. Now we're going to be adding some colored gesso to the wood veneer. So you just add a little bit of gesso and then color down some of your markers, and we're going to mix this gray with the green to make an olive color. And you basically just keep adding more marker. And you can see that the color is more opaque than the glaze. It also is a bit smoother. And there you go. We are also going to be using the gesso in another way. We're going to be using it to add texture. As you can see, I have a finished chipboard circle with some gesso on here, and I added some texture. So to begin, you add a thick layer of gesso onto the chipboard, and my tube has run out a little. I've used it for several projects, but yours should last for a while. And then you just take a paintbrush or a palette knife and you spread it all across the chipboard, and you want to keep it pretty thick. And I'm not smoothing it out, I'm just kind of roughing it up. I want it to have a lot of texture. And then you take a deeply etched stamp, and this is from a Unity stamp set. This one right here. It's called Bitty Backgrounds. And I'm just going to stamp it all across the wet gesso. And you can see that it adds some circle textures, just like the moon. And then you would just heat set it, or you can leave it overnight to dry. I like to heat everything on a trivet with my heat gun. And once that's dry, you'll have something that looks like a moon. And we're going to alter it a bit further. We're going to be adding some glaze to it. I'm going to be using the brush that I used to mix the orange glaze earlier. It's still wet, so I'm going to apply it to the dry chipboard, the dry gesso, and I'm just going to add some of the glaze like you would with a sponge dabber. And I'm also going to mix up some new glaze using the yellow, and I'm going to add that onto the moon too, just for some added dimension. Okay, so now we're going to finish up the card base, and we're going to use these cute little bats from Lawn Fawn's Happy Haunting and the Ghost. I'm going to color the bats with this light gray. And just apply the color directly to the stamp. Now we have our shapes. We have all our pieces ready for the card. But I don't like the white card base. So what I'm going to do is use one of my Stampers Big Brush markers in Violet, and I'm going to color the edges. Another great thing about the markers is that they don't bleed through. So if you wanted to use them to color or alter anything, they won't bleed through your cardstock. So now we can adhere that. And I'm just going to use my ATG.